Daddy Mac. Dan's 30 years got our way, trading life and markets every day. Rusty's chained to the mines, digging deep day by day. But when Option Omega releases new features, he's free to come out and play option. Omega, you're trading home, where every move makes you feel less alone.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Happy Tuesday.
Tuesday, August 26th, 2023. Matt and I have a we figured something out when we're doing the history, like the video descriptions for YouTube and things like that. It's very, very helpful if we know what day it is.
Yeah.
So,
because here's the thing. Here's the thing people may not realize. The OO show is on. I mean, we didn't do a celebration, but I think we've crossed well over 100 episodes, haven't we?
yes, we have.
I think we have. And if anybody's interested in those past episodes, there's a whole playlist where you can watch them on YouTube, and they're chapterized. If you want to click a topic, you just boom. There.
How many episodes do we need to do to catch the Seinfeld show? Do we have a few more? Or?
We got a little bit longer to go.
I don't know. I actually don't know, because they got famously lazy at the end, where they were just like, I want to do it. Now we're about 180. I mean, yeah, we'll be there in no time.
We'll have to beat the Seinfeld.
That's right. We're at like almost 100. We're at over 115 episodes.
Wow.
Can I tell you something?
Hey.
I'm not a TV guy. That's also a really that's also a really like, I figured out, really cocky thing to say at this point. You sound like you're trying to make yourself super smart. Like, yeah. I'm not a TV guy, you know.
TV guy.
You can fill in what I do besides watch TV, but I'm not a TV guy. But Melissa and I, my wife Melissa, shout out Melissa, best mom in the world, best wife in the world. We have gotten on a show that she had watched, this show called Severance with some friends.
What's it called?
Severance.
And
it came out, and I don't know anything about it other than people were really, really mad at the end.
Okay.
And just because it's nonsensical and it's like kind of sci-fi and all this stuff. There's this show that came out in the early 90s called Twin Peaks. Are you familiar with Twin Peaks?
I heard of
Never saw it. Is that what's his name? David
Lynch.
David. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we started watching it, and we got hooked. And it starts as like a small town murder mystery, and by the end, you're dealing with all sorts of crazy stuff. I'm not going to give it away, but
in Severance or in Twin Peaks?
Twin Peaks.
Oh, spoiler alert! It's been out for 40 years, but I haven't seen it yet. So spoiler, please.
Spoiler alert! It's been 40 years.
It has a thing. We're going to do what I realize is because the internet's watching what I do at all times and listening to me. I now get ads. How to make a David Lynch filter for YouTube. So we're going to do a Twin Peaks themed intro show one day. Maybe the 200th episode. I don't know. And it's going to be powerful. But anyway, one of the things I've realized in that is that you can waste an inordinate amount of time watching TV. That's really all I was going to say. It's just,
okay.
It's a lot
point. True.
Yeah. Like people who, I can't imagine people who watch Dallas, like how every week you have to just wait for it. And it's like, who shot JR? I don't know who shot JR.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but you just wait, bated breath, water fountains, water coolers. You're talking about it all over.
So it's interesting. Is this going to change? Because I feel like you're right. And there are these shows that go into syndication in the US. The way it works is that a show is broadcast on network television, and then if it's super popular, it goes into syndication. So like the cable networks will pick it up at night and run an episode every night. And the last one that I can think of that did that, you're right, Seinfeld was one of them. It's like every 10 years there's a mega show. Friends would have been maybe after Seinfeld, maybe, and then after Friends, I would say The Office was the next one. But has there been one since The Office? Because now does anybody watch broadcast television versus like what's the big sitcom? I don't even know. Is there one?
No, I don't.
Yellowstone, but is that's not a sitcom?
Yeah. I mean, The Office is great because when Melissa and I go on vacation, we go to the hotel room and there's two things that are happening. Either The Office, The Office is on 24 hours a day.
Is it really?
Yes.
Yeah, on cable television, you can watch The Office.
24 hours a day.
That's all they have is The Office.
Yeah.
And we'll watch The Office, or once Melissa goes to bed, this is my little treat. What is the show where they Deadliest Catch?
Oh,
that's
I'm
never tired of that.
Melissa will like wake up in the night to like go to the restroom or something. It's like 2:00 in the morning. I'm just sitting there being like, the guy just died. I got to see what happens.
Oh yeah.
Freezing when they're catching these fish.
Yeah. That's a great show.
I love that show. And that's what I feel like we're doing every day. That's what we're doing with Double
Diagonals. Comparison to Deadliest Catch. It makes us, it brings a whole new dimension. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My parents watched Days of Our Lives.
And that's a Twin Peaks move, too. Twin Peaks basically takes the soap opera, Northern Exposure. Side note, I thought when we started Twin Peaks that was Northern Exposure because I watched Northern Exposure as a kid. And then I realized they were just – there was a time in life where, like, every show was about the Pacific Northwest. So, see, Band of Brothers, I can't get it. Like, hey, what do you want to do Tuesday night? You want to watch some more about the tragedies? Like, I just can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a line between shows that are syndicated that you can put on every time and then shows that are really good that you want to rewatch, like Band of Brothers about Easy Company. And Band of Brothers is probably never going to be syndicated on TBS for 24 hours a day. Right. Well, The Office probably will be.
Well, and it was cheap to make compared to Band of Brothers. I mean, Dan, what I have to imagine, because I know you as well, and I wouldn't say you're a TV guy, right? What is the last show that you might have been 10 years old when this happened, but what was the last show that you were like looking forward to every week to watching? Rawhide? Matlock?
That's a good, we used to see it late at night. I mean, the shows that I would watch pretty religiously were all these like police detective shows. I mean, you'd have to go way back, but like at 10:30 at night, I'd watch them with my mother. Mannix, Kojak, Columbo, those were those are the ones that I would get in, a little bit of suspense, a little bit of Columbo was probably the favorite, but any of those police movies were kind of, and there was so many of them, wasn't there?
There's a crap that my grandpa and I used to watch Hunter.
Oh, Hunter.
Yeah, we watched Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
Anthony, great question. So I can answer this personally, and I would go ahead and say I'll take this as the expert. Top Gear, you can get it on Amazon Prime, I think, but Top Gear wasn't, on there every day. Now, I got into them because Americans don't know anything about those guys. I got into them because of Clarkson's Farm.
Because what?
There's a show. Jeremy Clarkson was this guy. He's kind of like, I can't really think of the equivalent in America, but like kind of like one of those guys that's done a bunch of game shows so much that he kind of got like, if Alex Trebek was really funny and British, that's what. And so
if he was really funny,
but Alex, he's not known for.
You're right. Very
but
serious.
Maybe Pat Sajak. I could see Pat Sajak. But there's a show called Clarkson's Farm where he bought this giant farm, and it's actually a great show because it teaches you about farming.
Yeah.
And like the pitfalls and like how hard it is to farm, how much government stuff is on your back, especially in England trying to farm. But he ran this show for a long time where it's basically a car show called Top Gear. And they have it on Amazon Grand Tour. I love those guys. I could watch those guys all day. My wife's not the biggest fan. She likes Clarkson's Farm a lot, but Anywho, I'll tell you what the Clarkson's farm of options trading is. That's the double diagonal.
Okay,
Oh, boy.
here it is.
I like the transition.
Yeah, it's not like that at all. But
Yeah.
first off, Matt, what's the market doing?
Well, I don't have it open, but it was down about 5 points in futures, and there was a spicy move. It's down. Look at that, 5.25, pretty good. Down 5 points, 4 3/4, 5. The futures market had a little bit of an up and a little bit of a down last night. I was blissfully unaware, but Trump is, I'm not sure, firing or in the process of firing or pressuring to fire one of the Fed governors. And so there was about a 30-point move, which for our VIX is, that's not nothing. But it kind of went up and then down and then came back again, it looks like. So I wasn't watching it live, but it looks like that's what
Now,
it did.
can he fire? I mean, so he obviously can fire the Fed gov.
Great question, Dan.
Can he fire Powell, or what does he need? Like,
No idea. Any constitutional lawyers?
No one knows if they can. It's going to be a court case if he can.
Yeah.
But the problem and the reason he hasn't is because the market has shown him every time he even hints at it that, like,
that's right.
hey, bud, you don't want to play this game with us.
That's right.
Yeah.
I
And
agree.
I think Trump's goal is just lower rates, right? Do you think Trump actually cares if it's Powell or not? I don't think he does. He just wants lower rates. So
Period. Yeah.
and the market's kind of been stuck in this zone, but like to your point, Dan, like what could maybe push us up or down is we've got a lot of earnings coming up, and like this is we're coming into the throes of it here. So
well, we're also up, Matt. We're up right now. I mean, you think about it, the turnaround for the year. I think the market's up like 8%,
10%, 8 to 10%,
8 to 10. So if you could, I mean, I would never have thought. How many years did we have? How many the previous 2 years weren't they up 20 each?
Yeah.
So now I thought we're due for having a normal year this year, but if he can pull another,
I don't know.
Plus,
can I just go into grandpa mode here for a second?
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you care if I just go into grandpa mode?
Let's go.
All right.
We can't stop you.
You can't.
I didn't get to go to Panera this morning, Dan, but I'm going to take my place in the conversation here. Here we go. Here's the thing. They're making it worse when they want smaller interest rates, lower interest rates, because they're fabricating growth.
Yeah.
Whereas, and I'm about to just tell you guys, like Ron Paul, 2008, I'm that guy. Like we should have had like 4 recessions in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
But we didn't because they artificially pumped money into the market.
Yeah.
And all that does, in my mind, is delays the inevitable. So you no longer get a down year where it's like down 5% or down 6%. You're either going to be up 20%, or worst case is there will be a year where we're down 50% in the stock market and it doesn't recover immediately. And like you end the year down 50%.
Yeah.
And because they keep lower interest rates are just the worst thing in the world in my mind. And anyway, rant over. We can talk another day about that.
Yeah, no, I like Matt, encourage him. Let's get
I was just gonna say we got a shout out to Dr. No in the chat. Put it up on the screen.
Yeah.
That's right.
There you
Ron
go.
Paul.
Yeah.
Try,
so anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it just seems too. Yeah, I mean, and people are. I mean, if you talk to most people, it's just, it's almost their right to get 10 to 20% a year in stocks, and that it couldn't go down 30% or 40% in a year. I mean,
and I don't care. Fire whoever you want. Again, if I was voting for Ron Paul, I would want Ron Paul to fire everybody. Yeah. So I'm not opposed to the firing. I'm opposed to if we have a super strong economy, you don't want 1% interest rates in a super strong economy.
Yeah.
Like that's not good. It's just fundamentally not good. I will say this, Ron Paul, for those who don't know Ron Paul is the guy who ran in 2008 as a libertarian.
Dr. No. He ran as a Republican. actually.
Oh, that's right. He ran a Republic.
Yeah.
He's OBGYN. He was an OBGYN.
Yep.
He's from Texas. His son is Senator Rand Paul. Very different from Ron Paul, I would argue. Ron Paul, he's the type of guy where they would, at the debate, they'd be like, Chris Wallace would be like, Congressman Paul, you've said that you want to legalize heroin, legalize prostitution, do away with the post office, do away with the Federal Reserve. Congressman Paul, what kind of America would you have as president? And you're like, oh man, how's he going to get out of this one? Because he did say he wants to legalize heroin. And 5 minutes later, every time I'd watch these debates, 5 minutes later, I'd be like, I guess I am pro heroin now, because that was a great answer. That was a great answer.
That was a great answer.
So anyway, I'll tell you who the Ron Paul of option strategies is, and that's the double diagonal. So we'll go into,
it's probably the seem to laugh.
Yeah, we'll go into. So, all right. Yesterday we talked about a double diagonal, and we looked at 923, and we said it doesn't have to be 923, but it can be 923 if you guys want it to be, whatever you want to do. You know, it's a choose your own adventure situation. And lo and behold, out of our boy, out of the woodwork, Stephen V comes in swinging for the Tuesday episode. Now, this is not his trade, but I'll show you what he added. So I did some adjustments. I'm about to give you a trade that's terrible and you shouldn't do, but something interesting that we don't talk a lot about on the show is happening in this test. Here we go. You guys ready for it?
Yes.
Matt, what in the world are we doing here?
Looks like there's a floating entry on this one, and there's a diagonalizing, and yeah, that's my hot take.
But you have to floating entry on something, otherwise it's just
it's floating entry on the RSI is the trigger.
Yeah. So a 60 RSI floating entry between 9:35 and 11:30. And you might think to yourself, this feels like deja vu. I feel like I've seen this before. You have, from our 923 that we did last week. So adding back some of these filters that help double calendars seem to help this trade. Now, there's some other things that we haven't put in yet because I thought it'd be worth talking about today.
Early exit, please.
Well, early exit, but even let's talk about the entry before we talk about the exit. Matt,
yes.
Why do people like putting 100% of their portfolio in a backtest?
Yeah, because you can see the drawdown. And this one, boy, does it have a drawdown. As a matter of fact, you might look at this and be like, oh, 317% Kagger. How many people do you know who are going to keep trading a strategy that's down 83%? This is how many I know. 0. And so the 100% is a way of like really punishing the backtest to see the robustness of it. So that's why people do it.
That's exactly right. And so the way we say this, we're going to try to start doing this more a little bit to show you what we're talking about, but it comes with a caveat. Options, well, this is not financial advice. We just spent 15 minutes talking about Twin Peaks. Don't listen to us for financial. Don't take these guys and be like, I'm going to do the exact same trade they're doing. But when you're backtesting, the way I backtest personally for my own trades is I will test 100%, because if something works at 100%, now you could argue, does this actually work? But I mean, a 3.9 MAR is nothing to sneeze about. And so 100% is, okay, it shows there might be some validity. I would never trade at 100% ever.
And you also backtested one lots too. I mean, you do multiple ways. Yeah.
So I do 100%.
Okay.
I do the complete opposite. I'll test one, and then I'll look at my allocation and I'll try to like fine tune it from there.
There you go.
I'm conservative. So it's going to be somewhere, if it's 1 to 100%, I'm going to be much less than 100%, much less than 50%, much less than 20% with most of my trades.
Hey, Troy, couple cool quick things. I mean, one, it also looks like they made it 5 wide, so cheaper, because this is kind of an expensive trade, right? The rails, I don't think yesterday, or not the rails, plus or minus 5 points for the longs. Wasn't yesterday 10, if I remember correctly? Or maybe I'm wrong on that, but I thought yes.
No, I moved it to 5. I think
Okay,
Stephen had the 10.
It is quite expensive, but the thing is, I mean, it should be similar. I mean, to me, if you said to me, double calendar, double diagonal, I mean, double diagonals with a lot of the same rails of the double calendar, they should work. I mean, they're going to be similar. They're in the same ballpark. You're selling similar. I mean, here in this example, you're selling a higher delta call and put than you are in a lot of what people will do at DCs, but they're very similar. They're like first cousins on these trades, except this is a very expensive trade in 923, but it should be very similar stuff. What do you have? $50?
And there's no rails.
Yeah, no, but it should be very similar because I mean, you run in it, double diagonal. Where's your problem? It's the similar problems as a DC. If it hits the short, if it goes near the short strike too early in the trade, if it goes beyond the short strike, that's going to be problems. I mean, there's still problems, except the difference is in the risk management. The double diagonals can't handle they have a little bit higher negative gamma, so they can't handle a move as well as a DC.
So maybe narrower rails.
Yes. Yeah. You can't give the same. You're going to have to ease it a little bit with the double diagonals. But what's the other side of the coin? The other side of the coin is the double diagonals will get the third base generally. Not all. They can get the third base quicker at times than the DC, especially, and they can especially handle a volatility crush a little better because you're buying less extrinsic value. So to me, can double diagonals hedge a little bit of the vol risk with DCs? Yes, in some way you can finagle them in there because they have less volatility risk, especially as you widen the long. So I think, again, in this concept of portfolio, different deltas for I think the DDs have a place in somebody's DC portfolio, right? That's the proposal here.
So you're saying, so two things. One, Married with Children. Shout out Married with Children. I watched that at way too young an age. Network television, that was an amazing thing. Kids could just watch it. And I'm about to say the most drunk uncle thing I could ever say in my life, which is what you're saying is that double D's get you to third base quicker. I just want to review what we said. That's double D's get you to third base quicker.
Yeah, you didn't ask me to make sense.
I'm just saying it. I'm just putting it out there. That's
in my weird world, yeah.
My drunk uncle response there. So a couple questions about contract size. I think it is important to maybe hit this for a minute. Matt is riveted. I caught him in the yawn. there. Matt.
I'm making our saved backtest link to share.
I love it.
With a modified portfolio allocation and an early exit.
People are asking. You got to build it. You got to build it one step at a time. But people. Knight Rider's a great show. Dukes
people are just now catching up to the show and throwing us all their favorite. But
the questions of why would you put one trade on? Why would you do one contract? Well, the reason you do one contract is basically this. You want to see, this is the reason I do it. Quite often, you start with a 5% allocation, 10% allocation. What you'll find with a lot of trades is that if you actually run one contract, it does better than your 5 or 10% allocation, which in of itself is a teaching tool that you can realize. So I will go with that a lot of times and figure out, okay, so somewhere between 10% allocation and 1. So how do I compound this? And so it just gives you a challenge to figure out and maybe then I've had DCs before where I can't figure out between 1 and 10%. So I'll move it to Qs or I'll move it to SPY or I'll do something like that because I can manage that size more. Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, I was just going to say I just uploaded this slightly different version of this backtest, and it's slightly different. There's no rails on it still, so that's something to add for the future. It is a 10% allocation, and it still has a 32% drawdown. So it does have an early exit. The capture rate is actually pretty. I think is it ident? Oh, do you have it up on the screen now? So I think the capture rate was higher. The win rate's about the same, but again, there's no early, or there's no rails on it. And what's interesting is it's done very well recently. So in the last couple weeks, it's been on a tear. And why is that? I think that's because vol has crushed, since it didn't go on for a long time. And honestly, I'm not sure. I have to poke around and see where this drawdown is, but it does have a big, a 30% drawdown for a 10% allocation is indeed nothing to sniff at. And it goes into a drawdown pretty soon. I mean, it doesn't trade much, and it goes into a pretty healthy drawdown, even just in a few trades in the first year in 2022. I think 2022 was actually a negative year. Yes, it was. So, yeah, just a slight tweak on that. To hear a comment from the chat is that, again, this is why it's important to have context. Most people are not going to trade a test at a 10% allocation that has a drawdown of 32%. Like, you look at this on paper and people would be like, oh, winners are bigger than their losers. True. It wins most of the time. True. Are you going to trade this through a 1/3 drawdown when you're only allocating 10% of your port?
Well, and it isn't this in the same ballpark? We're talking here, mixed drawdown. We might as well just bring in, why don't we just sell puts out of the money? In other words, when you get DCs and DCs in this type of trade without any rails, yeah, I mean, the probabilities, you got the probabilities in your favor.
Right.
Why don't you just sell 10 delta puts
right
the rest of your life? Well, there's nothing wrong with selling 10 delta puts if you have some type of rail, if that one, once a year or once every 6 months goes against it. And that's all I see here with the drawdown is just, hey, yeah, it's a good trade. You get some probabilities, or, you have some room here. Yeah, you got to deal with the problem, right?
Yeah.
Short.
And that's why we got all week to work with this one.
Yeah, just deal with the problem and you'll be fine. And that's the thing. When you get punched in the face, when it goes against you, and double diagonals have the same problem as the double calendar. It just happens maybe a little bit quicker, but how are you going to deal with it when it starts getting near that short strike and beyond, and give a good answer. And that's where the back test, and without it, yeah, you got the draw. But it's almost like we're saying, if you have no risk management, you're going to have a big drawdown. Well, yeah, if you go just sell puts,
right?
How many? I used to look at years back, all these, when I first started teaching, you'd have all these newsletters out there, right? Iron Condor, all these different newsletters, and all you needed was, and they'd say, well, what do you think of this newsletter? I said, let's wait till we get a washout. Let's wait till we get a big market move, and let's see how many we lose, right? And it would be that, because you find out if somebody had a decent risk management plan, and basically, as OO would say, did they have rails on? And the ones that didn't have rails on, these wonderful strategies, they got unhinged. And it's just, just deal with any trade. Everybody's, how often do you hear, guys? How often do you hear that? Here's what I'm going to do when the trade goes my way, right? I'm saying, well, I don't care about that, right? What are you going to do when it goes against you? And does it make sense? And that's really, that's the rails. Yeah. Rails.
100%. And no, please. I'll say this. Again, I talked about this yesterday a little bit. People who have been trading with OO for a while, I've noticed, especially now, shout out Wizzy, there are people who have built portfolio optimizers where you can plug in the CSV And that's in our Discord. Go to the Discord and you'll see all this stuff. People have done a lot of work with that. One of the things, again, this is purely theoretical. I haven't done any work in this myself, but looking at it, when I think double diagonal, I think long Vega with quicker theta.
Absolutely.
Long Vega, quicker theta. Okay. So what would you do to handle that? Well, obviously you want each test to kind of be a microcosm of a full exit criteria itself. You don't want to base it on other trades. But with a portfolio, if I'm thinking long Vega, quicker theta, that then gives me an opportunity of maybe how do I hedge some of that? Well, RICs suddenly make sense in that because you usually doing 0-day, 1-day RICs, things like that, where you're benefiting from movement. So if you have a 9, again, just theoretical, a 923, and you're collecting this theta every day, right? And then you have some RICs that are capturing moves on any given day for profit. That to me, it seems pretty good. That seems to me like a good kind of way. Dan, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it makes good sense to have some type of long gamma hedging, right? Because the RICs are going to get you long deltas on the way up, short deltas on the way down, double diagonal or double calendar. They're going to get you short deltas on the way up, long deltas. And so I think that hedging, at least to where you're comfortable, it can give you, even if it's a more temporary, to me, I'd be thinking, could you do a RIC? The only thing for me with reverse iron, I like how Matt did it one day. You can make them long term. Generally, I've done reverse iron condors. I want some kind of catalyst, right? Unless you look at it long term, I think like Matt did, where you lean at long deltas, and he had some interesting ones with that. I like the one where you took off the short put.
Yeah, we've got some that are like 7-8 days. We've done YouTube videos on like Thursdays over the years, buying an 8-day and stuff like that. Yeah,
but it's just for me. Maybe it's a Charlie Brown security blanket. It's like if for me to feel good, it's like give me a few catalysts, something CPI, FOMC, give me something to help make it. Even though like yesterday, you didn't have there was no news yesterday. The last half hour. It was just, there was no known.
Well, and to the point of trust in a backtest, yesterday is a perfect example of being like, can you really trade a 30% drawdown? Well, did you sit in that RIC all day? Like if you put a RIC on and you just bled all day, we were down 10 points.
I bled
all day.
badly.
Badly. And then you're like, oh, it'll come back in the last 30 seconds. It's very difficult to do. Last Tuesday, I remember I was on the phone with Matt or on a call with Matt, and I told him we were meeting about something, and I said it was like 10:15 or something, and it was like, oh, I just had a RIC fire that I probably would not have fired manually, just looking at the price action for the day. It was a full winner.
Yeah,
it was the only winning trade last Tuesday I had in a plethora of trades, and so the point of it is like this is why the test the test is capturing data that you wouldn't have captured. Right. And that's part of it. It's part of the plan, part of the trade. So anyway, listen, we'll continue on it. The good news is we found a 3.9 double diagonal, and now we just got to fix the drawdown, which is we can do that, right? Sometimes you get a low drawdown, but you get a low MAR. We got a good problem on our hands that we have a high MAR with a high drawdown. We can fix that, and we will fix that. So. Anyway, shout out everybody. Hope you guys have a good trading day. We will see you tomorrow.
All right.
Be safe.